DeAndre Bonds, American actor, active since 1993.
Who is DeAndre Bonds?
Some actors play the street so well, you assume it's just great acting. With DeAndre Bonds, it was a little too real. He was the loudmouth cousin in The Wood, the cocky young gangster in Tales from the Hood, and the hardened soldier in Get on the Bus. But off-screen, he wasn't far from those roles at all, and eventually that caught up with him. DeAndre had that authentic LA edge that made his performances feel lived in. He wasn't pretending, he was that guy. And in the late 90s, he seemed like the next breakout black actor with real range. But right as his career started to heat up, reality hit harder than any role. In 2001, he was sentenced to over 10 years in prison for manslaughter. And just like that, the rising star became a cautionary headline. But his story didn't stop there, it just got more complicated. DeAndre Bonds is a Los Angeles-born actor whose breakout came in the mid-late 90s during a renaissance for young black Hollywood. He had that raw charisma that made casting directors take notice, intense eyes, real emotion, and a street-born authenticity that fit perfectly with the era's gritty urban dramas. He made early appearances in Sunset Park and Get on the Bus, but one of his most memorable roles was 1999's The Wood as Stacy, the aggressive, overly protective older brother who nearly derails the story's wedding plot. That performance turned heads and had many people thinking Bonds might follow the path of actors like Lorenz Tate or Omar Epps. But as quickly as his name started to circulate, it went quiet. He missed the early 2000s boom in black cinema completely, not because he wasn't talented, but because he was behind bars. Stunt number 1, doing 10 years in prison at the wrong time. In 2001, DeAndre Bonds was arrested and later convicted of manslaughter for killing his aunt's boyfriend during a domestic dispute. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison just as his acting career was hitting a peak. Fresh off roles like The Wood, Get on the Bus, and 3 Strikes, Bonds was building buzz as one of the most promising young black actors in Hollywood. But that momentum was cut short. 10 years away meant missing on an entire generation of opportunities. New faces filled the roles he once would have been considered for, and Hollywood, as often as it does, moved on without him. When he returned in 2011, Bonds was no longer the same person, and the industry no longer had space for who he had been. The timing of his incarceration was more than unfortunate, it was career-ending. Stunt number 2, Lockdown, left him scarred. One of Bonds' most intense performances came in the 2000 film Lockdown, where he played an inmate trying to survive being behind bars. In one scene, his character was assaulted and forced to perform oral sex on another prisoner. Though the act wasn't real, the mental toll was. Bonds later admitted he cried after filming the scene and regretted taking the role altogether. He said it changed him, and not in a good way. The emotional impact of that experience seemed to linger well beyond the movie. For an actor who already walked a fine line between art and life, Lockdown blurred that boundary in damaging ways. It wasn't just a role, it was trauma, and it may have opened the door for deeper psychological issues. When he later found himself in a real prison cell, the trauma of that film must have hit even harder. Stunt number 3, never recovered mentally from the trauma. DeAndre Bonds has said multiple times that prison made him worse, not better. After his release, it was clear something had shifted. His spirit, his mental clarity, his ability to function in the spotlight all seemed dimmed. Whether it was something that happened to him while locked up, or the weight of everything he lost during that time, Bonds never fully recovered. He spoke on how real life began imitating his movie roles. Like after 3 Strikes, he was actually shot in the buttocks just like the film. After Lockdown, he was sentenced to real prison time. There's a haunted quality to him now. He still acts, still tries to create, but the depth he once showed feels clouded by something darker. Whether it's trauma, unresolved pain, or even substance use, Bonds' mental state has never seemed quite right since his release. And that's perhaps the biggest reason his career never restarted. All in all, DeAndre Bonds had the kind of raw, lived-in talent that can't be taught, but the same edge that made him so great also made him vulnerable to his environment, to his trauma, and to the dark roles he brought to life. Doing a decade in prison at the peak of his potential was devastating enough, but when layered with the mental scarring from roles like Lockdown and the inability to truly heal afterward, his fall from promise became nearly irreversible. Today, Bonds continues to work, and his name still carries weight for those who remember. But the star he could have become never fully got the chance to shine. Salute, much respect, but for these reasons, his acting career was stunted.